give you the information that you need, from business to economy to politics to technology. And that's all we do here on Newspunch, from the beginning to the end. And that is why we are here. Keep watching Newspunch.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to another edition of Newspunch, your regular political and current affairs program on Ben Television. Coming to you from London. Today, we are going to zero in on looking at the report card of the President Buhari's government. Recall, before we proceed, I want to let you know that my name is Chukwudi Mwabuko, and we shall be interfacing today. We shall be discussing, and you are free to make a call, to call through to the program to make a contribution and to air your opinion on Buhari's 4 years in office, because from tomorrow a new term begins for him, and across the states, 36 state governors in Nigeria will also, not 36, some of them, some 30-something states governors, because there are some governors who are not yet, whose term is not yet due, or are not yet due, and they are sitting out until maybe later this year or beginning of next year. So we have across the states, the majority of the governors are to be changed, and the president will be sworn in for a new 4-year term. Recall that in 2015, President Buhari defeated the then President Goodluck Jonathan of the People's Democratic Party. The President Buhari contested under the APC, or Progressive Congress Party, and he defeated him, and he yielded, and he took over power from him. And 4 years have passed, and in February of this year, Nigerians went to the poll and re-elected him as president, re-elected some governors, and some of them lost, some new faces are coming in. So as from by this time tomorrow, they will all have been sworn into office to begin a new term of 4 years. So today, we are going to look at Buhari's report card, as well as the report card of all the governors in the country that we can zero in on. So viewers, you are free to call. We are going to interface, come up with your contributions, come up with your questions, come up with your ideas and suggestions on how to go forward. We want to look at Buhari's report card and see what he has done so far. And from now on, we also have to try and set an agenda for the incoming government. So that's what we are going to talk about today. We are expecting one of our guests. As soon as he's here, he will join us in the program. Recall that it took President Buhari in 2015. It took him 6 months to empanel a government, to form his cabinet. Before then, Nigerians were asking, why is it taking so long a time for the president to form a cabinet? And Nigerians are not people who have that kind of patience. People were now agitating and said that maybe the government was not ready, because they expected a government of that magnitude, somebody that has contested for the presidency for about 3 or 4 times before he won, that he will be ready to take off immediately. But President Buhari took his time, and after 6 months, he named his cabinet. So as we examine President Buhari's performance in office, it will also be appropriate that we look at the ministers, because it is through the ministries and the people he has selected to help him run those ministries that will be able to assess how good the government has been or how bad they have been, because the instruments or the office through which government policies are carried out are through the ministries, and then the head of the ministries are the ministers. So they are the ones, the figurehead people who represent the government or the presidents in all the ministries. So their performance or non-performance in office impacts tremendously on how people see the government they have put in place. That is why, in ideal situation, after every 4 years, the people that have been elected who are asked to run the affairs of the government go back to the people to seek for fresh mandates, where they have been seen to not be performing to expectation. They are invariably voted out. That is ideal situation where the democracy works, where the voting counts, where they count people's votes and return the results. It's expected that people who don't perform are voted out of office and then a new one elected. We also record that in 2015, there are many people believe that the government then, headed by good Lord Jonathan, was not doing well. That the people put a lot of hope on President Buhari to do better than his predecessor. So, but it is now debatable by some people. It is really debatable if whether Buhari has outperformed Jonathan or that is lagging behind. Many people you ask today, because of the current things going on in Nigeria, they will tell you that this era is the worst era we have had in Nigeria, that Jonathan's regime was better in many respects. And there are those who also say no, that Jonathan's government was an aberration, kind of, because it did not add much value to people, particularly in terms of corruption. It was a kind of a state policy that those who were seen to be corrupt were not, there was no difference between corruption and stealing. So that they even came up and said that corruption is not stealing. So it's like they gave a clean bill of health to those who were looting the state resources. But then it is neither here nor there, because what people saw that time, other people say that even now those things are being replicated. So it depends on who you speak, who you are talking to. Those who support Buhari, no matter what it is, will tell you that he is the best. He is better than his predecessor. And then those who are the supporters of Jonathan will tell you that he was the best that happened to Nigeria, and that they still long for a kind of his government to come into office. So that is how it is. There is no conclusive evidence that this regime has performed very well or better than his predecessor. So, but then we said before that it is through the instrumentality of the ministries and the ministers that we could really see how far this Muhammadu Buhari's regime has impacted on Nigerians. So if we look at it, if we look at the issue of many people want to examine him based on security, because before he came to office, the Boko Haram was ravaging Nigeria, in the northeast of Nigeria. They took over more than 17 local governments they occupied, and the government seemed not to know what to do. And so when the election came up in 2015, people thought that because of Buhari's background as a military general, as somebody who has commanded divisions in the army, he was in a better state to arrest the Boko Haram menace in Nigeria. But even though when he came in, true to his word, there was a kind of improvement. There was a kind of effort being made to, according to what the government will say, to degrade the Boko Haram. To an extent, the government succeeded. But as time goes on, the same virus that affected Jonathan's regime also creeped into Buhari's efforts. That the Boko Haram that was described as having been degraded reared its ugly head again, and has continued to interfere in the daily lives of Nigerians, particularly in the northeastern part of Nigeria. Even though we have recorded incidents of the fact that Boko Haram does no longer control the number of local governments it used to control prior to the governments coming to to office. Then another menace came up. Another issue came up. The issue of herdsmen, cattle rustlers, and the kidnapping came on the rise. You know, so the issue of the herdsmen, as militant as they were ravaging the country. In fact, trying to, from what the former president has said, a former president of Nigeria, Obasanjo said, that there is an attempt because of the fact that the government has been ineffective or has been nonchalant in tackling the menace posed by these herdsmen, that there is an orchestrated plan to Islamize Nigeria, because the ravaging herdsmen, which people have called the military arm of Miyetti Allah, that they are on the loose to kind of carry out an agenda. Although this idea or this thinking, this trend of thought has been ridiculed by some people. Some people said there's an atom of truth in what is being said, that as long as there is the effort by this government to put in place to make sure that only people from a particular part of Nigeria, particular section, occupy the commanding heights of the security and the government itself, that there is a hidden agenda to kind of Islamize Nigeria, which is no longer hidden, but is about to be carried out. So, but those in government, those who ought to know, said no, that is a political statement. It is not true. That there is no attempt to Islamize Nigeria, and if anyone does that, the person will not succeed. But then, what do we see? Recently, we have groups, ethnic nationalities coming together and say that, well, if government cannot protect them, they are ready to form their own groups, armed groups, to prevent any kind of attack from the Fulani herdsmen. However, there is also about a week or two ago, the government of Buhari told Nigerians that there will be attempts to mop up the whole arsenals. Anyone that is holding arms in Nigeria, they will be good to surrender them now. They revoke licenses of those who have arms. So some people read into it and said that no, this is coming at a time when Nigerians need to be protected, and they're not being protected by the security agencies, by the police, by the military. Therefore, asking them to surrender their arms is an invitation of anarchy. You know that unless those who are causing mayhem in the country, unless they are also checked and all the arms they have taken away from them, there is no reason why people who legitimately have arms or license to procure arms should be asked to deposit theirs. There's some examples in some other areas that where there have been genocide, where there have been killings of great magnitude, this kind of policies came first. Surrender your arms, and then other people are unleashed to the people who are now defenseless to attack them. So that is what we are looking at in terms of security. People expected that under this regime of Buhari, the Nigerian security architecture will be able to kind of protect Nigerians and minimize the killings going on. But we witness that on a daily basis there is killings. There are lots of killings in Nigeria, not only by the militant groups, by the herdsmen, by killers, by ritual killers, and all manner of people. There are also incidents of also police carrying out extrajudicial killings, which also prompted one of the commissioners to arrest some people, some policemen on duty who killed some citizens without any valid reason. So in terms of security, people are saying that the government has really missed it, that the Buhari government has not lived up to expectation, that the security of Nigerians is not guaranteed, whereas government exists to protect lives and property. That where lives and property are not protected, that government lacks legitimacy or lacks any kind of legitimacy to continue to lord it over them. So, in terms of security, Nigerians are expecting more from the Buhari government, because people want to go to sleep with their eyes closed. People want to go about their businesses without any molestation, knowing that when they go out, they will come back. People are no longer going to their farms because of the activities of the Fulani herdsmen who are on the loose. You see them, they are always slunging AK-47 as they walk on the road, as if no one is in charge, and they target the farmers and round them up. Sometimes in the villages, they go to the villages in the night, round them up while they are asleep, and cause mayhem. The next day, you see corpses everywhere, people dying for no just cause. And apparently, the government seemed to be helpless. It came to a head also in Zamfara states, APC states, that the people there could not sleep. It took the intervention of, and knowing that even the chief of defense staff came from that place. It did not bother them. They were slaughtering people every day. So it is worthy to note that in terms of security, a lot deserves to be done, because as the president said, even the president has said that if there is no security, how do we ask people to come and invest in your country? If there is no security, how can people come and invest? The investment will not be there. People will be scared to come to the country to invest, and the economy of Nigeria will not grow, will not pick up. At a point in time, Nigeria has economy of Nigeria was growing at 3%, but today, from the budget that was signed, the growth rate is put at 0.1%, which is not to write home about, considering that Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa. It has what it takes. It has the population to propel that country to great economic greatness. But because of not putting the right people where they're supposed to be, because of not implementing the right economic policies, Nigeria is lagging behind, compounded by the fact that the insecurity in the country is also contributing to depleting economic resources. So in terms of security, a lot needs to be done. We cannot give the government 100%. We can not qualify that they have done well in security, because people are being killed every day. There should be attempts in the next 4 years of this government to try to improve the security of Nigeria, and let people go about their normal businesses without molestation, without any fear, without any molestation, with knowing that when they go out, they're able to come back, knowing that the government is out there to defend them. Government should be proactive. The security agencies should be proactive. The police should serve the people. They should serve the people and not only react when things have been done. Most of the time, people complain that as if they are called when the crises are on, they hardly come when the people are there. When they have gone, they come. But then nobody can be arrested. Nobody will be arrested. So we think that there is every need for Nigerians to be security conscious, for the government to protect lives and property of Nigerians, and to give them the sense of belonging, the sense of security, the sense that the government have elected is capable of protecting them, is capable of protecting them, and then deal with crimes and criminals. Because remember, if you go to the economy now, Nigeria is the 6th largest oil producer in the world. Nigeria is also termed as the world poverty capital of the world. I mean, it does not add up how a country as blessed as Nigeria could be termed to be the poverty capital of the world. In fact, apart from the fact that it is the poverty capital of the world, before we used to be one of the most happiest people on the earth, but now many Nigerians, many youths are committing suicide because of the failure of the state to guarantee them work, to guarantee them food, to guarantee them security. For example, if you finish school, Nigerians pay a lot. They like to go to school. A family may not even want to eat. As long as somebody's in school, they would train you to the last until you graduate. At the time you graduate, you are looking for a job. There is no job for you to do. There is no incentive for you to go into farming. There is no incentive for you to do one thing or the other. People depend on government and look up to, because in most societies, the government exists to create the environment, to create the right atmosphere for people to go to work, to get job, because they are working to the fact that economy will expand. When the economy expands, people get into jobs. People can look for job and get job. But in our own situation, the economy is not expanding. The universities in Nigeria are increasing every day. We have more than 100 universities in Nigeria. People are trooping to universities, and when they come out, there is no job. Factories are not built in Nigeria to absorb people who are being let up by the school, or who are graduating from the school. No factory is being set up. What we have, nothing is increasing. So the economy is not expanding. People are not being absorbed, and it kind of creates a kind of, people lose hope in the system. People lose hope even in themselves, that after going to school, I have no job to do. There is no incentive. You cannot get a loan, because they will tell you to bring a collateral that you can. Even the banks will say collateral, knowing that you are leaving school, you have nothing, no investment, nothing. So many people are committing suicide in Nigeria today. Therefore, we are asking that the government can do better. This government can do better as it takes off tomorrow. Let this government not waste another 6 months looking for the ideal person to put in office before they can form a cabinet. Only yesterday, the President of Nigeria signed the 2019 budget. Almost half of the year is past. Half of years in June. May is almost going. Today is 28. They will come in 29. And then the budget was just signed yesterday. So what have they been implementing? If there is no money in the economy, people will be starving. So what to do? This government, as it comes in now, should put the interests of Nigerians at heart. Nigeria, if there is nobody in Nigeria, Nigeria is the backbone, is the reason why they exist. Government exists for the people. So if you cannot implement and carry out laws that will impact on the people you govern, that government loses legitimacy. So we will advise the incoming government to, among other things, make human development, human resources, their primary issue. Develop human capital in Nigeria. Nigeria is a country waiting to take off. Nigeria is blessed. Nigeria has a population to drive the country to the sky. But if we do not have people who have the ideas to translate it into reality, to tap the ideas of Nigerians, many are channeling their ideas today into wrong ways, wrong usage, because there is no person to direct them. People exist if there are people that can channel Nigeria's the talents of Nigerians. If you can channel it, if people exist to channel it, show them the path or they should tread. The people who are going into crime today and devising new strategies to defraud people, devising strategies every day to go into crime, will channel into good purposes for the upliftment of the country. So if government is looked up to as all and all. So until this idea that not only government, people can also do, individuals, private concerns can also do something to alleviate the suffering of the people. Until this thing is drummed into people's head, nothing much can be done. So the government has a role to play, to give direction to Nigerians, to tell them it is by doing work, by creating values that the economy can improve, that they can get job. It is the work of government. That is what government exists. They look at indices of development, whatever is lacking, they bring it up. So the government should be a guide, the guiding lights to make the country what the founding fathers, what we were taught in school, because Nigeria had expectation, potential to grow, to be the #1 in Africa, even if not in the world, but in Africa. Show the light. That was the idea we had when we were growing up. You know, we had the idea that Nigeria is a potentially great country, but unfortunately, more than 60 years after independence, Nigeria is still being regarded as a potentially great country. Wow, when will the greatness, when will it explode? When will it manifest? It will take us, Nigerians, to move our country forward. Therefore, as we round up the show, we want to tell Nigerians, tell the government, incoming government, that the next 4 years, let them write their name in gold. Let the government write its name in gold, and make Nigeria what it ought to be. Thank you for listening. We'll be with you next week. Okay. Sorry, we have a break now.
Man is all ready to here on Newspunch to give you the information that you need, from business to economy to politics to technology. And that's all we do here on Newspunch, from the beginning to the end. And that is why we are here. Keep watching Newspunch from Ben Television. Today.
I'd like to thank my grandma,
My sister,
my lover,
My bestie,
My Westie.
my mother.
Thank you for reminding me to go to my cervical screening.
2 women die every day from cervical cancer. But cervical screening can prevent potentially harmful cells developing and stop cancer before it starts. So don't ignore your invite. And if you missed your last cervical screening, book an appointment with your GP practice.
Bavidi Luxury Hotel, the newest home away from home in the Nigerian hospitality industry. 10 minutes only from the local and international airports. It's the perfect spot for your relaxation whenever you are in Lagos. 24-hour non-stop electricity, cozy and colorful rooms, Wi-Fi internet connection, and flat screen cable television. Bavidi Luxury Hotel. Our exquisite restaurant and full bar are simply second to none in taste and style. Bavidi Luxury Hotel. We are located at the posh, serene neighborhood in the Keja Business District. Your satisfaction is our first concern, so we train our staff to be professional and personable. Bavidi Luxury Hotel, number 20 Moshuda Bella Crescent, Ikeja, Lagos. Telephone +234 1291 7929 +234 708 287 7512. Bavidi Luxury Hotel, the new home away from home.
Business, technology, the totality of what makes man is all ready to here on Newspunch. We'll give you the information that you need, from business to economy to politics to technology. And that's all we do here on Newspunch, from the beginning to the end. And that is why we are here. Keep watching Newspunch from Ben Television.
Welcome back from the break. As we went on break, one of our guests walked into the program. I'll have the privilege to introduce to you a regular guest on the program, Mr. Fatai Buribido. Mr. Fatai, welcome to the program.
Chig, good evening to you. And Nigerians, good evening. Sorry for the
before you came in, we were talking about Buhari's report card.
Okay.
Because tomorrow there will be inauguration. He will be inaugurated for second term in office. Mm-hmm. As also the governors in most of the states in Nigeria. Will also be inaugurated tomorrow. So we are looking at what he's been able to do, and the governments and the governors in their different states, what the report card look like, and what we expect them to do. And then we give a background that before, when Buhari, during his first term, he spent almost 6 months before empaneling or putting in place a cabinet. 6 months out of 4 years. You know what it means? Just almost 1/4 of it, as it was 1/8 of it went off without nothing being done. So, and now we are going to advise him? How do we, having seen him while he performed in the first term, are we going to expect him to wait for 6 months before putting in place a cabinet? That's what I want to ask you. What is your outlook? Do we think that he's going to spend another 6 months to get the kind of people he wants to work with, or you're advising him to immediately begin to work because Nigerians need things to be fast forward?
Yes, definitely. Nigerians need the actions now. And good evening, Nigerians, and I'm still happy to be here. And at the same time, so sorry for the delay because he's expecting me, which actually almost made him to actually round up the program, just as I walked in. Now, we have to understand one thing. The second term of every government is to consolidate the achievement of the first term. And for that reason alone, I think Buhari and his co-stakeholders of the government must have learned from the past, and they're putting up a more courage now to be able to face the reality about Nigeria. And if you remember, if you cast your mind back, lots of criticism met his delay in actually choosing his ministers far back to year 2015. And I think that if lessons have to be learned, this time around, he should have at least know that the crossing of the T's and dotting of I's must have been done by now, putting together his cabinet for the next 4 years. I think they must have learned from the past, and I know that it wouldn't take Nigerians for granted this time around, delaying the choosing of his ministers.
Okay, thank you. There is, how do we examine Buhari's 4 years in office? What would you think was the main achievement of Buhari in the last 4 years?
I think, to be realistic, the only achievement I think that needs to be adduced to this government is that of the Nigerians as a whole. And that achievement has to be their resilience in actually tolerating the government of Buhari since 2015. And I'm not being pessimistic, even though I'm known to be a critic of the government, which I don't ever regret. Only posterity will judge us all. God knows my heart that I mean well for Nigeria, and I face reality. I'm not the sort of a bootlicker, and I'm not the sort of person that actually, make sycophancy my principle, or so far away from it. So we have to be realistic. Nigerians need to be commended, because Nigerians are those that has held that country together. The unity of Nigeria today is actually the result end of Nigerians' own resilience, tolerance, accommodating nature. And as you know, it's a pity that we've been turned to what we are now. We are known to be so nice, hospitable, generous, fair-minded, considerate, compassionate, very caring for each other. But now circumstances has made us to be what we are never created to be. Desperation to make money, all sorts of problems that's confronting Nigerians as we are speaking. So honestly, I can't say I will adduce any achievement to this government, because in the history of Nigeria, we've seen the worst made up, governors in the history of the country. We've seen we've seen a level of nepotism that has never happened in Nigeria, taking Nigerians for granted. The government, they don't care whatever anybody says. They do what they want to do. Even you can see the level they hold the vice president. So it's all anarchy, all chaos, but thanking to Nigerians for their resilience and tolerance of the government. So we have to move on as a country. We just pray that God still He has put us together for a reason. Maybe God keeps to hold us together as one. So
you mentioned what we can describe as a rat race for wealth in Nigeria.
Well,
yeah, I want to ask you: Are you attributing it to this government? Is it the cause of people inordinately looking for wealth?
Let me tell you something. When the head is rotting, what do you expect the body to be? A country where we are rated across the world as one of the best well-educated in terms of at least conventional education, and you can see the level of Nigerians building other nations across the world. UK, the entire Europe, America, Asia, go there. You can see the good work Nigerians are doing there. And those who are moving out of Nigeria, they are what? Sheer spillovers. The real talents are in Nigeria. But our country has been held in hostage since the independence. What is happening in Nigeria is really unfortunate. We are being held in hostage as a nation. A group of people making themselves the owner of Nigeria and doing Nigeria the way they want. It's really unfortunate. So there is no reason we have to celebrate, because the past 4 years has been the worst years of governance in Nigeria since independence.
Okay, we're looking at, we identified that the fact that before we can properly assess Buhari's government, we cannot just look at him as a person and say your government is good or bad. It depends on the people he has appointed, because the government work through ministries. You know, you have ministries that take care of power, that take care of water resources, take care of roads. How has these ministries, how have they performed?
As I said earlier on, when last government was being demonized, blackmailed, nobody was mentioning the name of any minister. They were knocking on the name of Goodluck Jonathan. Despite the fact that he meant well and I did, I'm not campaigning for him. God sees my heart. I've never met him. I don't belong to any party. I'm always real in my criticism. I'm always real in my opinion about Nigeria. We saw what happened. As I'm talking today, except on occasions when they mention this name, because even then, lots of anecdotes made against her, none has been substantiated with court cases. But you know, the point is, when a government fails, the leadership of that government is accountable for that failure. That is the way we should take it. Because when you lay a good example as the head, then the followership actually follow the trend of your own principle, your policy, the laid down rules that you are actually following. And for instance, let's take it from the angle of the way the Osun PDP governorship was treated, and the way it's being tossed around now because of certificate issue. I mean, Buhari had the similar problem, and right now nothing is being said about that, because those sycophants who are promoting Buhari, the bootleggers who have always been there to attack those who are against this government, they've always been there, not seen any bad angle from Buhari's point of view. So you can see, when the head is rotting, what do you expect the body to be?
Okay, we have a call on the line.
Okay.
Hello, Peter. Peter on the line. Peter on the line. Peter, can you come with your contribution?
Hello? Hello?
Maybe, I don't know whether we have lost him.
Hello?
Hello, Peter.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just want to make some little contribution to your debate.
Yes, go ahead.
First of all, we want to start with the security situation in Nigeria, which first of all, you were talking about earlier. I think I did see a program this morning on Penn Television as well. The issue here is that we don't have to shy away from saying the truth. This government has completely failed Nigeria on security matters. Your colleague was saying now that we should not be talking about the president, that the people that he appointed. If he appointed those people to advise him, How many ministers or special advisors has he changed in the last administration? None. They are still there. If we say they are not performing, then it's down to the president to say, look, I appointed you to do. Even the service chief in Nigeria, they are overdue for change. Either they have no idea about how to tackle the security challenges in Nigeria, or they don't want to do it. Your colleague mentioned it. You cannot have a country where there is total complete breakdown of law and order.
Yes.
Where Nigeria is headed, in that case, how do you expect people, either in Nigeria or from abroad, to come and invest in the economy? We have to realize that government doesn't create jobs. Government creates the environment for private sectors to grow the economy. In Nigeria, we are constantly looking at government to do everything. The area this government should work on. In fact, I'll be so surprised, or I am surprised, that this government actually came back to power when they have completely, utterly failed Nigeria in the area of security. And without security, the economy cannot grow. No matter how much we hope or we wish, the economy will not grow without adequate security. We're talking about agriculture. We're talking about agriculture. At the moment, farmers are afraid to go to the farm. Very soon, we go back to square one, where there'll be shortage of food stuff in Nigeria. And why? It's not because the farmers do not want to grow crops, don't want to grow anything. But the fact is that they are so scared to go to the farm because of this so-called, whatever name you care to call them. People, cattle rancher, cattle heads, whatever you care to call them, carry AK-47, sorry, roaming around the street, and nobody is challenging them. And what kind of a society is that, my brother? What kind of a society are we living in? That every time we talk about government, which government? I wish, my friend, the producer of this program, you could get some of these ministers to appear on your program and explain to Nigeria what exactly they are doing every day they leave home, they go to office. What exactly are they doing? What is their job? What is their responsibility? You know, thank you for my listening to me. You know, I can go on to God.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for your decisive contribution. He, as we said, he was talking about
security
of Nigerians.
Definitely. I mean, you can see what's happening as we are speaking now. There is chaos everywhere. When we are growing up in Nigeria, you remember, even when you see a sight of blood, you run away because you are so scared. But nowadays, Nigerians have been turned to a people that no longer respect life. You see, you know, even teenagers killing just for the fun of it. Everybody now is seeking for ritual money. Why? Because of the failure of the government. Because if government is providing for the people, providing enabling environment for business, giving people, graduates, opportunity to be able to invest, to invest, even if they haven't got jobs to do.
Don't you think that the issue of ritual killing in Nigeria today is not the government per se? It is a widespread...
No. Let me explain to you. When they said, if we find work for an idle hand, when people have, we have even graduates who still believe that if they get the period pant of a woman, they can make money. People are being drawn to desperation, whereby they are always killing themselves to be able to feed. So when everything has degenerated to that level, how do you describe it? So people are desperate to have a living. Those who can kill themselves, they are killing themselves. Those who can't kill themselves, they are finding one way or the other to survive. At times, when the issue gets to a level that you know that no more hope, everything you see is an opportunity for you. For instance, if you don't care, You can see a lizard want to kill. It's like we are in the forefront of a war, whereby anything you see around is an object of either food for you or of destruction, maybe to shoot at. So desperation has drawn Nigeria to this level. We are never like this.
Like what the caller said, he pointed the fire at this government, this outgoing government that is still coming in. Never for one day, there are some low points of the government. For example, security. Those in the security arm didn't do well at all. They're not doing well. Nobody has been sacked. Nobody has been removed from office.
You see, I've always given this opinion that Nigeria is not real. There are certain stakeholders in this country who understand what is going to happen in the future. I don't think Nigeria has got a future. Because if Nigeria has got a future, those who are the stakeholders must have created a sort of roadmap which will enable Nigeria to have, a trust, hope, expectations that definitely the future is going to be rosy, or the future is going to be hopeful, or the future is going to even give us a better life, even for generations that is to come. But we have a stagnated sort of society, whereby nothing is happening at all. Infrastructural development, zero, and you can everywhere now, as the caller said earlier on, chaos everywhere, insecurity everywhere, kidnapping everywhere, blood spilling, ritual money, banditry, herdsmen. What more can Nigerians take? Chidi, what more can Nigerians take? We are almost being, honestly, the ship of Nigeria is rocking seriously now. And I just pray that it doesn't eat the rock.
Yeah, we are set up on security because it's so vital. Without nothing, no development can be made. Without it, people's life are in danger.
Definitely.
For example, yesterday in the evening, 10 p.m., there was an interview. Buhari had an interview yesterday. He scored the security agencies low. One is also surprised that even though he said that they have not done what they ought to do.
What has he been looking at?
He said that he began to reel out his achievements, accomplishments. He was a GOC in 3 divisions of the Nigerian Army, in Jos, in either in Ibadan or wherever. He had been GOC. He had become head of state. And now, people in place in the military, and they're not doing what they're supposed to do. This is a president that are making that kind of confession. Why couldn't he act?
Let me tell you something. This guy is being made a scapegoat.
Who?
The IG. The Inspector General of Police. Why? If you look back to the history of this government in the past 4 years, they have completely diminished the relevance or the functions of the police. Instead of investing massively on Nigerian security through the police, what are they doing? They are bringing the military onto the streets. Look back. How many governments in Nigeria have you seen bringing in military onto the streets? In every event, you see the military there. I see the military at the police of Nigeria. So they are investing more in the military because they rely more on the military to hold the power for them. This is what has been happening. So if they are trying to criticize the IG, well, he has to take it because he hasn't got a choice. Even the report is now coming that those who are even in banditry now, those who are kidnappers, they have strong link with the police. That is desperation. The police are hungry. They want a life as well as every Nigerian. They want to live a life that will give their own children a future. But we are losing everything in every section of Nigerian life. What can we say we are very proud of within the last 4 years? What? The project that is being demonstrated, that is being brandished to the entire world, that they have achieved. These are things that was done by last government. Okay. Paid for, already almost accomplished before they left. So now the issue of the budget, 2017, 2018, they all came in quick successions. What achievement has been achieved in 2016? What achievement has become in 2017?
They are saying that they have commissioned railways.
These are railways that have been, even many projects are being recommissioned.
Yeah, the government is a continuity. They pick it from somebody.
I commend the issue. I commend the fact that they were able to complete what Jonathan started. But it is like, no government within 4 years could have achieved anything. The second term of every government is to consolidate what they have funded in the previous term. You understand what I'm talking about? So if this government is producing any success to themselves, any department is lying. This is the truth.
We have now known the failures of the government, and the government has renewed its mandates. That begins tomorrow. What are we telling? What shall we tell them? What should they concentrate on? What will they do so that at the end of the day, Nigerians know that they have worked? What should be the objective?
The one thing I know about human nature is no leopard changes from its old colors. The consolidation of what has been happening in the last 4 years is what we are going to be seeing. Nothing new is going to emerge in this government. You can see before the election what happened. The artsmen, they retreated because the election was coming. Immediately, Buhari has been pronounced as winner now, either genuinely or through nuke and crook. What is happening now? The artsmen are invading the farms now again. So you can see that this is just the beginning. We haven't seen anything yet in Nigeria. We just have, as characteristically, we have to keep praying for a better future. But I can assure you, Chidi, nothing new is going to come. Nothing new. Is there I'm not being pessimistic. I'm not losing hope. Okay. There's nothing God cannot do. Okay. But I can assure you, this government, the conversation we are going to have is for anarchy.
You are sounding so pessimistic about Nigeria.
Because Nigerians are not...
Should Nigerians, because they are sounding this way now, should Nigerians just wait for the Armageddon? What should they do? How would they retrieve their country from the hands of the hawks?
Let me tell you. Can't you see the pervading silence everywhere? People are not talking.
Is that the problem? Is that the solution?
That it goes to show that things are not well with Nigeria. Those who are talking are the sycophants. The rhetoric is still reaching the next level. So you can see that whenever anybody wakes up in the morning in Nigeria, before you go out, you are so scared because you don't really know whether you are going to come back home or not. A lot of reports we have from Nigeria. So that's the reason why we are resilient. God has made us to be so special. If God has given us the opportunity of having a good government, Nigeria could have shot into at least number 5, 6 in the entire world. But see what has been made of Nigeria. Okay. There are certain people that understand what Nigeria is going to become in future. And that's why they are not giving the opportunity for Nigeria to be able to move forward.
What is your advice to Nigerians on how to concentrate on
Well, my advice to the government, God has a purpose for bringing Nigerians together. We are so interwoven now that it will be very hard to break us because we are so much into each other. So the government should try and improve on bringing us together again because we are so divided now. Whether we believe it or we don't believe it, whether the bootlickers are trying to attack me again as they do, I don't care. But the point is, we should find a way now to convince the government that they have to build a Nigeria for the future. Okay. Or is it that they make us or they break us? And to the people, our resilience, please don't be tired. Let's give this government another opportunity. Maybe it's going to correct the mistakes of the past.
Okay. Viewers, we have come to the end of today's program. I want to thank you for being out there and for listening, and for those who called, I want to thank you for your contribution. So, Mr. Fatai, thank you for coming to the program.
Thank you, Chide, for inviting me once again.
Thank you, viewers. Until we meet next week, goodbye.
Business, technology, the totality of what makes man is what we bring to you here on Newspunch. We give you the information that you need, from business to economy to politics to technology. And that's all we do here on Newspunch, from the beginning to the end. And that is why we are here. Keep watching Newspunch from Ben Television.
I'd like to thank my grandma,
my sister,
my lover,
My bestie.
My Westie.
my mother.
Thank you for reminding me to go to my cervical screening.
2 women die every day from cervical cancer. But cervical screening can prevent potentially harmful cells developing and stop cancer before it starts. So don't ignore your invite And if you missed your last cervical screening, book an appointment with your GP practice.
Bavidi Luxury Hotel, the newest home away from home in the Nigerian hospitality industry. 10 minutes only from the local and international airports. It's the perfect spot for your relaxation whenever you are in Lagos. 24-hour non-stop electricity, cozy and colorful rooms, Wi-Fi internet connection, and flat screen cable television. Bavidi Luxury Hotel, our exquisite restaurant and full bar are simply second to none in taste and style. Bavidi Luxury Hotel, we are located at the posh serene neighborhood in the Keja Business District. Your satisfaction is our first concern, so we train our staff to be professional and personable. Bavidi Luxury Hotel, number 20 Moshuda Biola Crescent, Ikeja, Lagos. Telephone +234 1291 7929 +234 708 287 7512. Bavidi Luxury Hotel, the new home away from home.